And welcome to the Racing Show. I'm Matt McKenzie, joined by this guy over here.
Who's that guy? We don't see him very often, and lately you've seen me weeks together.
That's right, that's right. Of course, George Keene. What year did you start this show officially?
We think 16 years ago. We think it was in 1985.
Okay.
Or 1995.
The math doesn't work right, but close enough.
No, it's 15, 16 years. We just heard last year that it's the longest running, consecutively running show on public access in the state of Michigan.
Well done.
We don't know about the country, but in the state of Michigan.
We'll take the state.
So. Yeah, we'll take the state. It's just one of those things that it started out as a labor of love, and nobody else had access to the racing. And now you can get it anywhere with the internet.
Things have changed.
And hopefully you're watching us on the internet, because we have a special that we do every year. The Golden Gloves are coming up starting the 12th, the 18th, the 26th, April 8th and 9th. And you'll have an opportunity to win tickets. Write down a couple of addresses. So we've got some coming up for the 12th, which is this Saturday, I believe.
Saturday, yep.
Friday or Saturday. Race show at iserv, iserv.net, and or McKeen, MCKEEN, at iserv.net.
And that's your personal email address, so we can send complaints there too?
Yeah, complaints, suggestions, death threats, we don't care.
All right.
But this is a great thing for young men and women now. We have probably 8 or 10 gals now that are boxing in gloves, and it's just a hoot to watch. And I'm hoping you'll come down one night and get a feel for it. And we were just talking, a gentleman that we both know very well, Denny Baxter, who actually is the gentleman, the brains behind, with Lou Chamberlain, the West Michigan Whitecaps. And they are now getting pretty heavily into promoting boxing events at Whitecaps Park. And so it's kind of nice to see that these guys are going to have a venue that when they turn pro, it's a local venue where they'll be able to box. So, and I'm a fan. I fought in Golden Gloves for years. It keeps the kids off the streets. It gives them something to do. But
it's fun.
It teaches them some responsibility. You've got to be at the gym. You've got to train. You've got to show up at the right weight. You know, everything is procedure. And at that young age, you don't want anything to do with procedure. But if you want to box, you got to follow their procedures. And it's kind of a neat deal. So I'm a big fan.
So if you want tickets, hit you up at the email address, show@iserv.net, and George will get those to you, and we'll make it happen.
Yeah, and if you can't make it to pick them up, if you live too far away, we will leave your name at will call.
Yep.
And you'll be able to come down that night and pick them up, and I'll make sure that it gets handled, because I'll be there.
Okay.
So it works out well. Watch any races this weekend?
I slept through the whatever the Carl Edwards thing. Yeah. If that's what you're getting at.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, see, there was a couple of pieces of excitement in that one, but with Brad Keselowski leading the thing, you know, with basically a couple laps to go and blows the right front tire, they had a lot of tire problems this time. And that surprises me, because Goodyear has been so good about doing testing.
Generally speaking, we don't hear much about tire problems these days.
Right. It's just one of those things that kind of goes away. You don't think about it. But the big story seemed to be Danica Patrick. Finished fourth.
Which I think will keep being the story.
Yes. Yep. Well, and it should be. She's the first female to finish that high ever in NASCAR. And that amazes me. You know, I think back to the Janet Guthries and the Lynn St. James and all of these gals that raced, but they raced in IndyCar. Well, she does both. And I hear some criticism of her and all her publicity. And the thing that you have to remember, or that I have to explain to people, is she's driven 12 races in Cup or in Nationwide. Right. There's 36 races in a season. So she's only raced 1/3 of a season so far in her career in 2 years. If she races 2 more years at that pace, she'll have 1 complete season of racing in. And she keeps improving.
Yep.
So that's the big part of it. I think that's one of the things that people forget. She's only big as a minute. Yep. And those things you got to manhandle.
Yeah.
The Indy cars are a little more, there's a little more driver friendliness to them. They don't steer manpower. You know, they kind of a finesse thing. So to see her go from one to the other is phenomenal to begin with. You see guys that do it, but not very many. So I give her a lot of kudos. But Carl Edwards, Mark Martin, the perennial, winning the race on Saturday. Yep. And he's still the winningest driver in the Nationwide or Busch Series ever. 39 features, I think, so far. The old guy just amazes me. He's the Energizer Bunny.
Yeah, he keeps going and going. It'll be it'll be interesting to see because you've got such an interesting mix of now. You know, when Jeff Gordon won last week, I was thinking about Jeff Gordon's now considered an old veteran,
Correct.
which is weird.
Yeah, because we remember him being out at Berlin
little
Raceway
kid.
about this high.
That's right.
You know?
And when Gordon won that, it's just like Gordon's like a seasoned veteran. I'm like, where are we really? But I guess that's where we're at.
And he's third, I think, third or fourth on the all-time winning list. And it's just amazing that we have, in our lifetime, we saw him race quarter midgets at 14 years old at Berlin Raceway.
That's right.
So it's kind of neat that how many race car drivers that there are out there that have gone through Berlin Raceway on their way up.
There's a lot. And you've seen a lot of them. You've seen a lot more than I have. But even in my short time at Berlin, I've seen a lot just in that time.
Yeah.
It's amazing. And on that note, we should mention a guest coming up in just a couple minutes. We have Brian Ham here and his dad, Jamie, going to join us in just a few minutes to talk about their future at Berlin Raceway and maybe the past as well and where that program is going and maybe their involvement in the racetrack and their time, where that's even going.
Yeah, because there's a long history there.
Yes.
You know, with Jamie and now with Ryan and with the stuff that they're doing with the March of Dimes in April and, you know, all of the things they've got going. So there's a lot to talk about with those folks. And
we should mention too, George, Tom DeVette, who normally is a producer of the show, is not with us tonight because he is frantically doing whatever he's doing at the Centerpoint Mall, getting ready for the.
If it's not done by now, he's in trouble.
Well, I'm just saying.
Yeah, but he's tying up loose ends.
The West Michigan Race Car Show, of course, is Thursday through Saturday.
Correct.
At Centerpoint Mall. It was at Rogers Plaza last year. In fact, at the end of the show, we're going to wrap up the show a little bit earlier than we usually do. The show will still run an hour. But we're going to kind of do like a little best of thing of last year's race car show at the end, so you can kind of see what we did. I did it with Trevor Hollis last year at Rogers Plaza. It's moved this year to Centerpoint Mall. In Tom's words, bigger and better than last year.
Well, I went out there and scoped out the mall, and the way that he's got it laid out in the storefront that he has to have the vendors and the shows, and because they're going to be doing a lot of internet radio shows. They're going to be doing a lot of things there, and they're all going to be done from inside of one store. So it's going to be kind of neat. You'll be able to see everything in one location.
Kind of one media hub or whatever.
And it's going to be kind of interesting. I think they've done a great job, and with a lot of help from Bob Arnold-Dink and the Host Landry guys and a whole bunch of people, they've been able to put this thing together. And I give him credit because it would have died.
Yep. Yeah. And say last year with the show at Rogers Plaza, it was his first time doing it.
Right.
And even with that, it turned out pretty good.
Yeah.
It really did.
Oh, it was a great show.
It really was.
Time.
It sure was. And I think this year, you and I will also be there at some point.
Yeah. However our schedules.
Yeah. We'll both be there at some point. How much togetherness time we have together, I'm not sure, but we'll both be there covering various parts of that for WKTV here.
And we're going to do live internet on Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Keep track on theracingshow.com, and we'll tell you when and what time. And I put a link on there today. Actually, Ryan Ham was put on their Facebook. He said, "Where can you see this show?" Hint, hint. So I posted a link. Yeah, so you can click on that link at any time. And Verwain, I just talked to him before we went on the air. We're going to do like Thursday. We're going to do the thing for WKTV. And then I'm going to UPS it to him. And then you'll be able to go to the website Races on the Web. And if you weren't able to watch it while it was being broadcast, you'll be able to watch it at a later date or later that evening or whatever.
Whatever, you know.
Yeah, so Verwain's working very hard at putting the whole thing together.
Yeah, we couldn't do it without all those guys chipping in and helping us.
Oh, it's an undertaking. You don't realize you think it's a computer and a camera, but there's a lot more involved.
There's a little more money, a little more time and people and all of these things involved to make it happen.
Yeah, Verwain's sending a crew down basically to film and help run the computer, and WKTV is going to be there with the truck on Thursday. And if you get there on Thursday and you run into Matt or I, either one, if you want to see something phenomenal, that truck is a studio on wheels.
Yep.
And we'll give you an opportunity to take a look at it. But it's going to be there only on Thursday.
Okay.
Friday and Saturday, it's committed to the Golden Gloves. So,
and that show will air at a later date.
Yes.
So even if you can't catch us live, you can catch it here on WKTV as well in the future.
And these guys have been doing yeoman's work to help us each year and do all that stuff. So
it should be a good time. So that's at Centerpoint Mall. The Thursday, Friday, and Saturday of this week, and basically when the mall is open, the race car show is going on. And Centerpoint Mall is a great place to go. It's a nice mall.
They seem to have been wonderful for Tom to work with. And when I went out there and visited, they have a place a hot dog hut there. And the gentleman is leaving the mall. Actually, his lease was up last month. And he heard the race car show was coming, and he decided to stay one more month and be able to work the race car show because he's so excited about it. And we're excited about having somebody there that's actually going to serve racetrack hot dogs.
Hey, there you go.
I told him to do
sort of dollar beers, not dollar beers,
yeah.
but he's dollar hot dogs maybe, so that's something.
I'd like to see him work on the dollar beers. And I don't drink. I just think it'd be fun to watch the people that are there all day.
We don't draw those crowds anyway.
Yeah,
well, George, let's take a break, and we'll come back here in just a minute, and we'll talk to Ryan and Jamie about racing past and racing present and racing future. Sound good?
Absolutely.
Okay.
We'll be right back.
All right, be right back. And welcome back to the Racing Show. I'm Matt McKenzie, joined by George Keene down in far yonder down there. And to my left, your right, would be Ryan Ham and Dad Jamie. Guys, welcome to the show.
Thanks.
And we were just talking about, George and I were talking about NASCAR and racing future, past and present. I guess, welcome to the show. And I guess catch us up, Ryan. Let's start with the present. I know we've heard some stuff about you, mostly gossip, over the off season, of course, and your brother, et cetera. And of course, we had April here back on here last fall. And I guess catch us up to date with what's going on with you in the racing world and Ryan Ham for 2011.
Well, at Berlin Raceway, we're going to be running a modified this year. Moved up from the 4 cylinders. Going to try to run Winston Speedway on Friday nights with this other car I have. And I think Kyle's going to run in 4 cylinders again. So,
what's the decision to make the move? I mean, you ready to just take the plunge, or
Dad got his other wallet out.
well, I pretty much do what he says.
Okay.
He's the boss.
Maybe I should rephrase the question to Dad.
Well, we had a lot of things, fall into place at the right time. We kind of talked about it last year, but I wanted to run against Kyle in the 4 cylinders, just so I could beat him. So say that.
And you did.
I did, but he ran me down pretty good a couple times. So yeah, just like a lot of things fell into place at the right time.
Well, I guess take us back then. So you raced with Kyle last year, the 4 cylinders. I assume you guys. I mean, were you guys having fun doing that? I mean, it looked like it.
It was a lot of fun.
At the end of it, there wasn't really any hostility. That looked like you guys were having fun with that.
No, it was a great time.
But now you've, and I guess maybe you can address this to your dad too. Now you've upped the ante because now you're, you're not racing Hondas and Cavaliers around anymore. Now you're talking, I don't want to say bona fide race cars, but I mean, it's another, it's another step up.
Bona fide's a good word.
I like that.
Well, now everything goes up, including the stakes and the money and the et ceteras, and so was it just everything came together? I guess take us back when you say everything came together. What came together?
Well, we had a guy we had our eye on a car last year, and he still had it this year. And then we talked to our sponsors, and they were totally up for it. So we just decided to go for it. We got a sponsor that's going to buy all of our tires all year long, so we don't have to pay for tires, which is.
How'd you manage that? I bet
That's
a lot of guys would
that's a guy you want to kiss on both cheeks.
Some smooth talking.
Can we mention the sponsor, or is it still something yet to be unveiled?
Not
yet?
Not yet.
Okay, I won't put you on the spot, but good for you.
We do have some good sponsors that we will want to mention them shortly when further on in the show here.
Sure,
but
absolutely.
It's like Ryan said, everything came to fruition for us, and it was a logical next step for him. Kyle is a good qualifier, good racer, but wants to get a little bit more seat time
in the 4 cylinder.
In the 4 cylinders, and it was just a good next step for Ryan. I mean, we worked all together to build those 4 cylinders last year, and it was a lot of fun. And Ryan raced a lot last year, not just at Berlin, but on the dirt tracks as well. And he got a lot of racing experience last year alone. I think he had something in the high teens or whatever in feature wins combined. And that gets a lot of people's attention that are willing to get up off some disposable income, if you will, because you don't really get a lot of exposure at Berlin as far as bang for the buck for a sponsor, and I don't mean to be negative about that, but the demographic for Berlin is
It's different.
It's different.
It is different. It's a different
it
place.
doesn't appeal to everybody. It's a captive audience, and we just enjoy going there. It was a good fit for us, and we were quite honestly, we're going to take the 2011 season off from Berlin, because even though we were first and third in the points, we didn't really have as much fun as we thought. The spoils of victory were awesome for just that short period of time when you were in victory lane. But when you got back to your pits and the other competitors that you raced against accused you of cheating, and you know, it took all the fun out of it. And we thought that winning a championship would be a lot more fun than it was. And we weren't going to come back, and we were kind of blaming the racetrack for that. But it wasn't the racetrack's fault. It was the guys that we thought were our friends. So after that, and then the modified deal, and it's like, you know, let's go back and have a good time again, because it's a good fit for us. It's close to home for me, and not just Ryan and Kyle racing at Berlin. I have their youngest brother Matt, who turned 9 yesterday, is going to be running at Ravenna Motor Park in the go-karts. So it's a 3-brother deal going on out of our little garage at our house, because you know, we don't like to have the stuff at my race shop or at my place of business. It's not good for business there. So we do everything as a family at my home, and it's fun for us.
Going back to the guys in the pits, just so there's a little animosity to anybody that wins a lot. And there has been, though, when you and I look back over the years,
Yeah.
you know, Tim DeVos would have a great year, win 10 or 12
Exactly.
races.
There's always been that.
Every guy in the pits thought he was cheating, and so it's the nature
Right.
of the beast. But I
Right.
appreciate the fact that you're able to articulate the fact that it wasn't fun for you, and that's all that matters.
Well, we started to believe that. We started to believe what they were saying, and you know, we bought one of the cars used, and I went back to that guy. You know, is there engine work done to this thing? And it's like, no. You know, he bought it from the junkyard, crashed. So, and we knew we hadn't had them apart, and it just, you know, Matt you'd rib us at the show. You know, oh boy, you know, the hams again, and you know, it was, yeah, it's fun to win, but we learned that it's easier to learn how to win than it is how to lose. And when we didn't win, we were, other than one occasion, were excited for the guy that won, and we're the first ones there to congratulate him. And Cole Roloffs, it was one on the night where it was a 1, 2, 3
Yeah, we all remember
finish.
that.
It was very close,
was,
and I was in victory. I'm like, no way, no way.
Yeah, that was
because the scoreboard was a flash, and it was.
Yeah, the scoring loop had it wrong because they had that double loop thing. And
yeah, it was crazy.
Scoreboard
But
wasn't right, and yeah, that was a.
But I apologize to Cole every single time, and his girlfriend every time, because I think I scared him in victory lane. But the whole conspiracy theory and all that, you know, about dictating. But it was fun. We had a lot of fun running with Cole and, you know, Ryan and Kyle, and we kind of were in our own little world down in our turn 3, 4 area with. I think it was you and Ryan, or you and Kyle and Cole and Lysingus.
Yeah.
And we had a good time. And you know, we're looking forward to that camaraderie again in the pits.
Isn't the modifieds a little more intense than the 4 cylinders, or
Yeah.
am I seeing it differently?
No,
as an
it
outsider?
needs to be 100% focus. And you know, Ryan can speak for himself, but
We're going to drive the modified when modifieds are there, and when modifieds aren't there, I don't know if I'll have the on out or not. I want to.
What do you mean? You're a racer that wants to race? I've never heard of that.
Such a thing.
Yeah. But I guess I should go back. When you're not going to race the modified at Berlin, are you going to go to either racetrack B, whether that be somebody runs on Saturdays, or are you going to just go to Winston that weekend and take Berlin off, or?
Well, you can go where? You can go to Kalamazoo and a couple other
You
places.
can.
Right. That's what I was getting at. I mean, how busy are you going to be?
Winston's are on Fridays, so I'll run that probably every week.
With the 4-cylinder car?
With the 4-cylinder.
Okay.
Well, I have 2 4-cylinder cars.
Okay, with the 4-cylinder cars.
Right. Now, when the modifieds are not at Berlin, I would like to have the champion Honda there from last year out also, which is, you know, I think they're 5 or 6 times But
The four cylinders run, I think,
like
21 times. They run
sometimes.
quite a bit more than the modified. But when the modified's out there, we're going to concentrate on that. And back to George's question, I don't know if we'll travel. The USA mod rules are a little bit tighter than what they have at Berlin, so I guess we'll just have to see where our car fits in with that rules, if it's going to be a Berlin only.
Well, I think we'll see too that USA Modified might loosen their rules up depending on car count. If they want to entice you guys to come down there on off nights,
right,
they might have to show a little flexibility.
That may be, and you know, I'm not, you know, as soon as you take a car over the road, you know, the expense just goes crazy.
Yeah.
And like I say, with the modified being at my house in Walker, we're 9 minutes from the racetrack. We're sleeping in our own bed every Saturday night.
Right.
And you know, no hotel room, you know, no big fuel bill. So we'll just have to see. But for right now, we're going to concentrate on the Berlin thing. That's our home track. That's
right.
You know, that's where
it's going to take some getting used to on that car too. I think I haven't really driven something like that in a while. 2001 was the last time.
Well, I was going to. My next question is what's your prior past experience with a modified, and specifically maybe at Berlin? Obviously, you can get around the racetrack in a four-cylinder car and some other stuff we've seen you do. But is this going to be a big learning curve for you?
I think so. It's going to take a lot of patience. I think I'm not going to be able to take them 5 or 6 wide in the first curve.
No bonsai moves.
Not going to happen.
No bonsai
that was his nickname, was Bonsai. And it's like I told him, the modified is 300 pounds lighter than what his four-cylinder car was, but with the same horsepower. That's what I tell him, but
which is scary.
Right.
It's not true.
Not true. Right.
That Honda had 162 horsepower, and this thing's got more than that.
A little bit more.
A little bit more than that. A little bit more.
Yeah.
You building the engine?
Yes. Yeah. It's a Ford 347, which it's been around in our stable for quite a while. It won the championship in 2000 with Gail Cobb behind the wheel when it was in a Sportsman truck. So that engine's kind of had a little sweet spot in my heart, and never going to leave the.
It won't leave the stable.
No, that's one that we're going to hang on to.
Just being able to say that Gil Cobb ran it is enough, you know.
Yeah,
that's a little before Matt's time, but that was one of the fieriest race car drivers you'll ever meet.
I've heard the story so many times I can't even tell you.
Just a great guy.
And he pretty much wrung the guts out of that engine, and like I said about this table, if it could talk, it'd cuss. And that's that engine. But you know, the whole, you know, it's a brand new car, brand new everything other than this old engine. But
you build the car too?
No, actually, Tim Curry at Finish Line.
Oh yeah.
He had the car. He'd been working on it for a while. He was gonna run it himself. He was gonna use it for himself, and then we kind of came to a deal, a horse trade, which I'm pretty good at that, you know. And he's got a old hot rod that he wants some work done on, so we arm wrestled over a deal and made that happen on the car, and that helped us out a bunch. And then you know, we've got some sponsors that are customers of mine from up in British Columbia and Canada that are helping us out quite a bit. And
I do have to say there's probably a dozen race car drivers in the modified division that would rather have Ryan in that modified than Tim Curry.
Well, yeah, Tim's a good driver,
but
he's a fantastic fabricator. Be quite honest with you, we just picked the car up from there yesterday in the morning, and because they did the chassis and then they put the body on it, but by last evening we had it all taken back apart again and ready for some finished welding that we're going to do tonight as soon as this show is over. After we stop and eat, because I got tricked into this deal. I thought there was going to be a buffet, but
we tell everybody that, and it never
but no. So we're going to have to eat on the way, and then we'll spend some hours in the garage and get to the frame ready for powder coat. And yeah, just
Well,
a lot of hours to go yet. We're certainly not going to be in the Tom DeVette car show on Thursday, unfortunately, but not with that, but maybe with my little guy's go-kart, plan having that in there, and one car that we race in Mexico that I'm going to have there.
Well, that was my next question, because that has to be as much fun as you can have with your clothes on. I mean, just.
The Mexican race is a lot of fun. I've been doing it for, this will be my 10th year for the La Carrera Panamericana. And at the end of this, at the first of next month, we're going to take the car and run it in Chihuahua, in the Chihuahua Express. And that's a tarmac rally road race with vintage cars. And that's where these customers of mine from Vancouver, that's where they fall into this deal. You know, I go and help them out, and then I'm like their long lost kid at college. They just send me money every month, just like a college kid, to keep their cars going. And the car lives at my shop, and then when they'll fly into Mexico and run the thing, and then I'll bring it back.
Wasn't that an all Mercury at one time?
One of the cars we've built several for that. One of them was a '54 Mercury that met its demise in the Mexican race.
Was that when Tom Thomas was chauffeuring?
That kind of rings a bell. Tom had some bad information. You rely a lot in that race on your navigator, and the navigator has a big book that has every corner that you're going to take in the race, and there's 28,000 turns, and you don't see any of them twice. So you rely on how fast your navigator says, numbers the turn, and says it's going to be a 1 left, which is kind of a slow, or a fast. No, 0 is wide open, 1 is fast, and then a 4 being a slow. Well, his navigator told him it was a 4, or a number 1 right, which is a fast right, and it was a number 4 left.
Oh.
And Tom had committed, and he almost saved it, and then slipped and off the road, and then sucked him off into this huge 3-story deep drainage ditch, concrete.
I remember the pictures.
It was just a horrible mess, and you know, the car survived. Well, the guys survived, and the car made it back to Michigan, and it's still here, but I think it's in pieces the size of a quarter down at Padnos, because I'm sure it went through the crusher and grinder.
Well, it used to be fun. They used to have a link where we could go online and follow that, and that was really a
That was a neat deal.
Yeah, they tried to keep that up, but since then we did a couple cars for Jerry Churchill from Detroit,
my trucker buddy.
He's passed away a couple years ago. He totaled out an Oldsmobile we built, then we built him a Studebaker, and then this new car that we take care of at my shop is a 53 Studebaker, and that's what's going to be at the Tom's Mall show, is a 53 Studebaker Commander.
Well, you talked about your shop. Talk a minute about what you do, because I mean it's very varied what you do, but
yeah,
basically,
you know, I don't know if you noticed it or not, but in the Grand Rapids area, in the West Michigan area, there seems to be a Circle Track chassis shop popping up on every corner, which is great as long as the local racing can keep all those guys busy. Well, we've kind of evolved at my shop, Bonafide Customs, to being more of a niche market where we're not catering to the oval track guy, you know, per se. We don't build the oval track chassis. We build these one-of-a-kind road racers. We build, right now in our shop, we've got the Carrera car, the road race car. We're doing a 91 ZR1 Corvette that's going to try and set a land speed record at Bonneville in August. And street cars and, you know, that type of thing. I still do some engine building for the Circle Track guys, a select few. Tim DeVos, Brian Tillema, and a few of Dakota Carlson, just a few
Three
people.
pretty good chauffeurs.
I was going to
Guys
say,
that-
those aren't some
Yeah,
slouchy names.
yeah, they're guys that are, you know, they're winning races, and
Yeah.
it's not necessarily because my engines are any better than anybody's, but it's just, you know, when they're in the hand, you know, the worst engine can look good in the right hands, and I like to, you know, keep it that way, and but this,
Yeah, the day you start building them for 10, 12, 15 guys,
yeah,
you lose
those
the
are.
quality.
You know, that's when you get your, you know, Jack at Baker is it's a wonderful place. You know, I worked there a long time for Ray. Nick at Performance Engineering. You know, they want to supply to the masses. And I actually have my machining work done by Performance Engineering out in Hudsonville. So
Yeah, he did my hot rod engine.
yeah, they do a wonderful job out there, his guys. And when I know it's him calling, I always answer my phone, Performance Engineering East, because we're kind of connected at the hips.
That's funny.
And I give him good credit because that had to be a hard thing to
It
continue
is.
on.
I mean, yeah, that's his legacy. That's his dad and mom. That's
Yeah.
their heart and soul went into that joint. And that's good.
Yeah.
But we're here to talk about Ryan. and
Yeah.
Yeah,
his
right.
racing. Let's,
Well, I was gonna ask, what are your expectations for this year? I mean, you won so much last year. We won so much. We kidded you about it, but
Right.
now you're a different deal. This is a different thing
Way
completely.
different deal. I'm hoping for a top 5 in the future. One top 5.
That's it.
that's a pretty realistic
That's
goal.
a pretty
I think.
realistic goal. I
That's
think.
it.
Well, let's not forget we got to race against Dave Lake. He's a
Right.
tough guy to be around.
Fair point.
And I mean, no disrespect to Dave, but
Yeah.
no, maybe a little. But
Bottom line is, you're going to have a group of guys in there. We don't exactly know how many yet.
No, we don't.
In that group, we've heard numbers kicked around. I don't know what the latest number you heard, but it's probably going to be 10, 12 maybe. Is that what we're hearing?
yeah,
12 to
you know,
15.
yeah.
So it
Well,
probably
we know for sure we're going to be one.
right.
It's going to be one because we're going to be there, and you know what? We'll just practice and qualify and race wherever we fit in that pack. That's where we'll race, and you know you're going to learn more. I want to say if you keep the fenders on the car, but they don't have any. But if you don't if you're not fixing damage every week, then
Right.
you can learn, and it's going to be a huge
It's gonna
learning
be hard
curve.
to not do that.
But it's hard to learn on the trailer.
Yeah, it is.
Do you think you're going to have the respect of those guys in that division, or
I don't know.
or not?
I don't know.
Or how does one get that? You just race and you get seat time, or you just
gotta
stay out of
earn
the way,
it.
or
You got to
or-
earn it.
Yeah, I mean they've seen you win obviously in the 4-cylinder division so many times, but now you jump up in them and are you suddenly put the yellow sticker on your thing as a rookie and get out of the way kind of thing?
I don't know if I'm just going to get out of the way. But I'm going to make them earn the spot around me, I guess. But I'm not going to knock bumpers off each other either. So I'm just going to try my best.
Worst case scenario, car blow motor, car gets damaged. Are you guys in a position to keep going, or is this kind of one of these things where, I mean, there's a lot of teams, even higher up divisions, whether it be factory stock cars or late model cars or what have you, anything in between. You know, one blown motor or one big wreck and they're done.
Yeah.
That's it.
Anything catastrophic.
Yeah,
shuts it down.
that's it. Are you guys in that position, or how are you looking?
I would say that we're looking pretty strong. That finish line, I think we had 4 front clips in the attic over there, and he said,
You got 4.
don't use any more than these 4. 'Cause
Okay.
He doesn't want to build any more after that. So
You got 4.
we got 4,
four clips.
front clips, and the engine stuff. You know, that's kind of easy for me. So
We got a guy for that.
Okay.
we're hoping
You
that
got
we
a guy
don't
for
blow.
that?
We were
Yeah,
hoping we
okay.
don't blow an engine, but you know, if we do, I think we'll be all right.
There you go, George.
And
So you guys are going to be in it for the long haul. If something really bad
yeah,
happens,
we
you know.
really need to be there every week. We need to be there every week, and that's our goal. If nothing else, we'll be there every week. Whether we're battling with the top guys for the points remains to be seen. But you know, it's like Keselowski says, you know, if you can't win, be the show.
Right? Oh gosh.
Oh, gosh, he does that
We've
really
seen that
well.
before. Yeah, we know where that goes.
We're not going to be that bad, but you know, we're gonna. As long as they know, as long as they're talking about us one way or the other, whether he's in the way or
That's right.
whatever. That's
no such thing as bad publicity, right?
No,
That's how it goes.
no. But you know, we're
Beyond this, Ryan, what's next? I mean, I know this is just this year, but and I'm asking you to maybe talk about 2012, 13, 14. I mean, where would you like to go with this? You know, we hear all different answers to I want to be the next Earnhardt, to like I'm content running my thing at Berlin and Winston on the weekends, and that's all I want to do because that's all my wife will let me do, etc. Where are you with this
I'm going to be
career?
the most realistic as possible. I don't think I'm going to go anywhere else but Berlin. I don't really plan on it, I guess. I mean, if it happens, it happens. I'll be ready for it, I think.
Are you okay with that, though? I mean,
if something happens to where I'm offered to go somewhere else, I would probably take it.
but are you okay with
I don't think, you know, I'm probably going to run a modified next year if I do well this year. And, you know, if something falls in the way to where I have to run a super stock, I'm not sure if I would do that because they kind of crash a lot. No, I
We've
don't
seen
know.
that before, yeah, but a few
lot.
times. Those got fenders in those cars, so
Right.
at least you can go back to that. Well, although some at the end of the race
I
didn't
would
have
think
fenders.
I would do a late model.
Yeah?
Yeah.
I'm not interested in a late model.
Uh-oh.
So,
You have to get a new car owner. I guess you have to
Yeah.
do that in a side deal.
Yeah, he's gonna need one. But you know what? Ryan is he's 29 years old. You know, it's the guys that are moving up into doing bigger
Yep.
and better things are
They're
the little
gone
guys,
already
you
there.
know,
Look at the guy who just
Exactly.
won Daytona.
Yeah.
Right? Perfect example.
and,
or I like Chase Elliott.
or Chase Elliott, who's what, 15 now?
Something like
yeah,
that.
he's.
Who?
But
Yeah.
Exactly.
you won't be saying who for long.
No.
Chase Elliott is everybody's gonna know his name.
I'll tell you what, I went down and watched that young man at Winchester, and I was impressed. And I don't get impressed easily at Winchester. This kid with his dad on his ear, he was so smooth, it was scary.
Oh yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. He reminded me a lot of Mark Martin when he was at Winchester.
Oh sure.
Mark just sat back and just kind of drove his race, and Bill kept him back there in fourth, fifth, or sixth, and then when it was time to go, it was like the 50-lap signal, and here comes Chase. And good Lord, he kept the fenders on it for 350 laps, and then away they went, and it was awesome to watch.
Chase Elliott, he just won another race in Alabama over the weekend.
Right, I
A
saw that.
rain-out race that was run last night, I think.
Yeah.
He won that.
Yeah, I saw Butch Van Dorn on Facebook talking about it, yeah.
Oh, Butch on Facebook, imagine that. But, yeah, so maybe, if nothing else, we're hoping we can all get all this learning behind us, and then, you know, Kyle's some years younger than Ryan, 4 years younger, and then, you know, their little brother is, you know, he's 20 years younger than than Ryan.
Right.
So, who knows where this can all go? He might be our all of our meal ticket later on.
He could be the next Chase or whatever.
Right.
Or whatever.
But you know, his dad is not Bill Elliott. Unfortunately, these
Yeah, I
kids
think we don't
ended
think
up
Bill
with
Elliott
the
being our
hand
dad.
name
That's
and, instead of Rockefeller, but or Elliott or Earnhardt. But
Well, yeah, Bill Elliott picks the phone up and asks the sponsor if he'd like to come on board, not will you? Yeah.
yeah,
Let me think about if we want you for a sponsor. you
yeah,
know.
we don't have that.
No, but let's talk about your sponsors a little bit.
We've got, you know, Bonafide Customs for sure. Need him.
no chance he's going to pull out halfway through the season.
no,
Maybe not happy
depends
with the
on,
performance.
I don't think so.
Maybe change driver halfway through the season. It's not working out. You're going to
No,
just.
I am not interested.
Okay.
Quickly, I'll just say that I learned a long time ago how to make a little money in racing, and it wasn't by holding on to the steering wheel.
Yeah.
It was.
Isn't that the truth?
It was, you know.
You mean you're not getting rich racing every week? I thought that's why everyone kept coming back.
No.
You go to that payout window and they
No.
hand those huge
No.
piles of
Took me 2-3
cash.
years to learn that
The
lesson.
racing at the level that we're at is you try to find a way to lose the least amount of
you
money
got it.
per week. You're not going to make you won't talk to one guy there that's there for the paycheck to make money. It's you try to do it by spending the least out of your own back pocket as you can, and you know, the modified pays a little more, it costs a little more, but you know, if we can keep it around for a while. But
Yeah.
go ahead with the sponsors.
Treads and Sleds, they were on last year, which is my uncle. They're helping out this year. Career Group last year, they helped out. They stepped up more this year.
Cool.
Along with SS Racing, they stepped up also. Essex Customs and Body Shop, they're going to paint it. I think it's going to mostly be white.
Why is that?
Just because it's easy to fix.
Easy to fix.
You know, no hypercolor purple and green?
No,
or anything like
nothing,
that? Okay.
nothing, no rainbow, nothing like that.
Not like cool stuff that shines when it comes back
Yeah,
from light?
no, nothing like that. That's all I can really Joe's Auto Parts, probably, and Finish Line Fabricating, huge plug to those guys.
And Hot Rod Harley Davidson, they.
Yep.
So we got pretty much every motorcycle brand there is covered between treads and sleds and
Got everybody.
Kawasaki, Suzuki. We'll get down to 29th Street and buy those Kawasaki's and Suzuki's in Grand Rapids, and Hot Rod Harley in Muskegon. And
Yep.
Is that still Carl Muscatton?
Carl, yep,
Yep.
Carl is involved in with Hot Rod Harley, and he's another one of my customers. I got at least 2 projects of his in my shop right now, and he's a good guy. Our car, even with carrying the Hot Rod Harley sponsorship, is gonna resemble his son's ASA car colors somewhat.
Okay.
With you know, it was number 8, but ours is number 7. But you know, the white and blue and some yellows in that thing, kind of tie that in, and as kind of a tribute to his son. You know, he was killed in a motorcycle accident some years ago, but you know, his memory lives on, and it's not a tribute car for that. And another thing we got to mention is the March of Dimes. It's you know, that's not a paying sponsor, but that's something that's really near and dear to our family.
Well, let's touch on that real quick. We're gonna have April on a future show. She couldn't come tonight, but we'll have her on probably this spring, especially as the season gets going again. You guys still, speaking on behalf of her, but I'm sure you're all 100% involved. Same kind of thing in this year with the March of Dimes and your involvement, and
Yes.
same kind of setup, because obviously last year went by all, at least from what looks to everything, a big success.
Yeah, well, I think we're going to be involved, if not more than last year, this year.
Yeah, the March of Dimes is a great organization, and as well as the 97 modified that does the Helen DeVos thing.
Yep.
Those are 2 places that we hold in very high regard, and hope that nobody ever has to go through that.
Yeah.
You know, with Ryan's daughter, and then you know, Kyle and Amanda, their baby came early and spent 2 months in the Helen DeVos with, you know, using a lot of this equipment that the March of Dimes has developed with the funding from that. So it's kind of getting teared up. And
well, they do a lot of good work.
They do, and if it wasn't for the March of Dimes, we wouldn't have had Ashland for as long as we did.
I would argue that the you know, the highlight of the year at Berlin for me was those events, was the Helen DeVos and the March of Dimes. I mean, at the end of the day, the racing's great, and the hot dogs and the you know, and this guy wrecked this guy and this guy won, but you know, when you start doing stuff like that, stuff that really
when you do good stuff for kids.
It is.
Yeah.
It's for the kids, and it's for kids that don't even know they need the help.
No,
Right.
You know, it's
and it's for the parents that don't know how to find the help.
It is, and it's there, and it's, you know, this facility in Grand Rapids is you know, top in the nation.
It's one of the best, no question.
Up on Hospital Hill, and you know, we got to take your hat off to Mike Blackmer and Berlin Raceway for allowing those events to take place. You know, he puts money up for March of Dimes on the March of Dimes nights. I believe it was $1 a ticket. You know, we had a pretty good crowd that night, and it was a great shot in the arm, so to speak, for March of Dimes, and we're looking forward to that again this year. He's, you know, when we were talking with him, it's, you know, we want to keep that going, and you know, it helped us in our decision to come back to Berlin too, because of that, and you know, it's just Berlin is a good family-oriented place, and they spend money wisely with family-oriented charities, you know, and it's.
Well, when you meet the people from the March of Dimes and from Helen DeVos, you can't meet finer people.
No.
I mean, it's just amazing. You know, there's nice people out there, but you don't get to run into them very often. But wow, those people are amazing.
Right. We'd like nothing more than for April to land a paid position at with the March of Dimes, because there's nobody that is.
I was going to say, boy,
passionate.
what a great employee she would be for
there's
that.
nobody
Jeez.
more passionate for the March of Dimes,
Yeah.
I don't think, than April. I don't know if these other people that are involved with the charity have experienced it like she and Ryan have, but I mean, she pours her heart and soul into that, and you know, I would like to say that she's as passionate for that charity as Ryan is for the racing. If you know Ryan, I mean, he gets a one-track mind on something, and you know, hers is channeled towards the March of Dimes, and Ryan likes the racing, and it's together. It's a good.
Yeah, the melding
marriage
together
for
has
them,
to be
and,
phenomenal. Yeah.
And we're all pulling for them. They've got their adoption papers all filled
Yep.
out, and
Going through the process right now.
hopefully they'll be filling that nursery they got at their house. So
Fantastic.
we're praying and hoping and praying for
Yep.
that.
Well, guys,
Grandpa will have one to cuddle.
We got little Olivia right now. Kyle and Amanda's a little girl, and she's a blast. But when Ryan and April come over, we'd like to have something bouncing off our knee from them too. Ryan's a little big for old Dad.
I'd love to see that just once.
I'm never afraid to hug him or give him a kiss, and you know, that's one
As it
thing
should
about
be.
my kids is
Yep.
they don't have to wonder if they're loved. You know, they hear it every time I see them. So.
Well, on that note, guys, I mean,
Where do you go next?
yeah, no, it's.
We're
gonna wrap up the-
Kiss Ryan on TV.
Okay. Hey, we need to up the ratings a little bit. If you guys do whatever you want. No, but I appreciate you guys coming on the show. We're going to end the
Thanks for having
show with just a little bit of clip from last year's race car show
Right.
at Rogers
I
Plaza.
do want to give one more plug
Absolutely.
to the Golden Gloves tickets. If you would like to go, raceshow@iserve.net or theracing.show.com and send us an email through there. But look at this. This guy's ready. He could start hosting the show.
There you go.
We'd love to give them away. That's what Bill Chrisman gives them to us for. We'd love you to go down and enjoy the kids and see if you can get involved at other levels there too, because that's over the winter.
Yep.
When we're not racing,
not
so
racing,
it's kind of fun. And state championships are coming up, so go down and enjoy the Golden Gloves. Send us an email and we'll get you tickets. Thank you very much.
Race show at iserve.net. And of course, the West Michigan Race Car Show, this year's edition at Center Point Mall. It'll be Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. Basically the mall hours when the mall is
Correct.
open, the race car show's going on. You said you're going to have the one car there, the
Yeah,
Studebaker?
Studebaker, and hopefully, if everything goes well and we get home soon enough, Matthew, my little son's go-kart. will
Okay,
be there
for
too.
a Ravenna car.
For Ravenna,
Yeah.
yeah. But there should be side-by-side by somewhere near the March of Dimes booth. So
Fantastic.
So we got to let you out of here so you can go eat.
yeah,
Yeah, they got to go eat.
That's
So
right.
make sure you catch the race car show at the Center Point Mall. Tom DeVette's done a lot of work to put that together. 200 some race cars, I'm hearing the number going to be in there, full stage, broadcast, etc. And we'll be back here next week. So for George Keene, for Jamie and Ryan, I'm Matt McKenzie. We'll see you next week here on The Racing Show on
Good night.
WKTV. And it's a beautiful night in West Michigan. Rogers Plaza, it does not get any better than the West Michigan Race Car Show. I'm Matt McKenzie, joined tonight by Trevor Hollis. Trevor, good to have you here.
Thanks, Matt. Welcome yourself. It's good to be here with middle of March, and we've got race cars around us, so
And
it can't be better.
I say, and the weather's just beautiful. We've got over 60 race cars here, 13 different racing organizations represented tonight. We're going to talk to drivers, we're going to talk to crews, we're going to talk to track owners, all sorts of fun stuff here, and we're so glad you can join us. And Trevor, I know you're a track announcer too, and this is going to be a lot of fun for all of us tonight.
It is. I'm looking forward to this. Going to get a chance to talk to my employer, Ron Flynn. I know Crystal Motor Speedway is represented here. Ron might not be here, but we'll see who's standing in for them. We got Winston, Merritt, the dirt tracks. I'm a dirt guy. You know, Matt, you're a pavement guy.
I'm an asphalt guy.
You're one of what we call tar babies, and we kind of have a saying at the dirt tracks that dirt's for getting to the race, or pavement's for getting to the racetrack, dirt's for racing on.
And then we have a whole other saying, but we won't go into that
Right.
now. So Trevor, with that, let's get going. Let's check things out. It's the West Michigan Race Car Show presented tonight by CarStar, and a great charity tonight is the March of Dimes. Let's go. And taking a look at that award-winning, nice little thing you got on the windshield there, Dan. Dan Remersmuth Cars here. Dan, four-cylinder champion last year at Berlin Raceway. Dan, good to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's fun to really be here and be ready for the next race season here.
We're at the West Michigan Race Car Show in Rogers Plaza. I just mentioned Dan, big competitor at Berlin Raceway, last year's champion. And Dan, this car looks great. Now, you can see some pictures on the hood. We see last year's car. Looks pretty good there, but it got real banged up. This car looks beautiful. How long is that going to last?
Well, we hope it lasts all season, but we know how that goes. So it'll take probably a little extra paint and a few more stickers by the end of the season, but we'll try to keep her looking great.
Now, we talked about this earlier in the season. When we talk about Berlin Raceway and asphalt cars, we usually think of bigger race cars. This is a 4-cylinder race car. This is a Honda Accord. You could buy this off the street and race it. So this is a street car you can actually race at a racetrack.
Oh, most definitely. A street car, you go buy it. Most people are buying them off Craigslist and stuff for them. You pick them up for $800 or $1,000, and you put a cage in it and do some work to them and go racing.
About how much would cost? Say I want to take this and go racing, something like this. I got a car sitting maybe in the junkyard. It's not running great. Want to take it out. How much money is it actually going to cost me to go racing in a car like this at Berlin Raceway or any other track, dirt if you want to, up at Winston?
Well, let's see. A good competitive car at Berlin's probably running $2,500, $3,000. You get other cars in the Enduro series and some of the other stuff that are probably $1,000, $1,500. So it depends what level you want to compete at.
Now, if I wanted to do this in my garage on my weekends off or something, is this something doable I could do, or is this something I got to have fabbed at a fancy race car shop?
Oh, no, it's something you can easily do at home. I encourage people to do it and stuff. I mean, you got to have a welder, basically, so you build yourself something good and safe for a cage. But beyond that, it's just a little know-how, and many of us guys are that willing to help everybody out.
Now, Dan's going to be racing this car this year at Berlin Raceway. We'll see it coming up in April. Then throughout the season, it'll look a little bit rougher. I can almost guarantee it by the end of the season. Now, this car looks beautiful. And just down the way, we've got another beautiful car. Dan, let's go check this car out as we make our way down Rogers Plaza. You can see all of these beautiful race cars. Dan has another car down here that looks actually similar. It's not the same car, but it's a very similar looking car, and it's kind of a special deal, actually. We'll just kind of sneak our way through here. As you can see, a great crowd here at Rogers Plaza tonight, all sorts of different cars to check out. And Dan, we see the sponsor right in front of this car, the March of Dimes, Race to Save Babies. And this is a beautiful looking race car, but you're not going to be racing this one.
No, this one is strictly for the March of Dimes. It's a raffle car to raise March of Dimes money. It'll be in car shows, parades, that kind of thing. It's a joint deal in that between April Ham, who April had lost their baby. Her and Ryan Ham lost their little baby girl, Ashlyn, and stuff last year. And that, so we're just trying to raise money for March of Dimes.
So a good cause, and this race car will be raffled off throughout the summer. When are you giving this away, and is this thing race ready and ready to go?
She's pretty close to race ready. She's not quite set up as far as to make a left-hand turn. Since there's parades and stuff, we want to make it easy for people to drive it. But it will be when people win it. They're happy to come to me and make it race ready 100%. And it will be on raffle auction, or it'll be on August 21st at Berlin.
August 21st at Berlin Raceway. Dan Riemersma, great champion of the 4-cylinders, doing something great for the March of Dimes here at Rogers Plaza. Dan, thanks so much for having us. Good luck with the raffle. Good luck this season. We appreciate it.
Yeah, can I get a chance at least? I'd like to thank a bunch of people that are helping out to especially do this March of Dimes car here. We have Enterprise Iron Metal, Auto Body Experts, Sharkwater Shots, let's see, Horvath Designs are on here, Premier Metals for a cage that they donated, especially the March of Dimes for letting us do this, Bonafide Customs, and let's see, River City Motors and Central Iron and Steel, all helping out.
Read them right off the car. Dan Riemersma, Dan, thank you so much for all your help in charity. If you look just to my right, this beautiful car over here is something a little different. We're going to check in with Trevor next and take a look at this orange beauty.
Well, we'll continue on our expedition here at the West Michigan Race Car Show, sponsored by CarStar and benefiting the March of Dimes. I'm here with Mr. Niewick. You have something quite different here. What do we have here?
This is a Noble M400, built in South Africa, powered by Roush Duratec. Yeah, 550 horse, 590, I think, pounds of torque.
Talking.
Pretty wild road racing car.
Talked to you a little bit ago. This car is where this is built in South Africa is actually where they build the Formula One and the IRL Indy cars, correct?
Correct. The same company builds this that builds them.
And what happens to it once it's put together down there in South Africa?
After it leaves there, it goes to their other plant in England. They do the body. And then from the body, it comes to Roush in Duratec, and they do the motor transmission in them.
How long have you owned this car?
This one, year and a half.
Year and a half?
Yes.
Now, I did notice that it's not really plainly advertised, but there is a for sale sign down in the front seat of this car.
Well, I have two of them. I bought another one and a weak moment one day, so yeah, one or the other I'll sell, yes.
What would something like this set me back?
75,000 probably.
It's all carbon fiber body.
Carbon fiber body and all tube frame, coil-over suspension.
How did you find out about these cars? What was it that got you into the Noble car in the first place?
Just at the car auction one day, and it happened to be there, and I bought it.
You said earlier a moment of weakness had you bought a second one. Is it the same color, same car?
No, the other one is black.
Okay.
So same thing, about 4,000 or 5,000 miles on either one of them.
What do you think of the race car show here? First year we've had this. We're hoping to make this a yearly thing.
This is a fabulous show here. A lot of people, a lot of cars, and just a bunch of everybody around racing's always fun.
Well, you've been one of the people that have had your fill of racing during these winter months. I've been spending a lot of time down at the Deltaplex here in Grand Rapids watching Jay pilot his number 84 arena race car. How's that been for you?
We've had a good winter. Jack Gritter, of course, is the crew chief or pit steward or the man that runs it, him and Peter, and they've done a fabulous job this year. We've had a good year. We're second in points, so we're doing all right.
Is Jay enjoying it?
He loves it. He loves it. Looks forward to another month, and he can run the outdoor series.
That was going to be my next question. What are Jay's plans for the summer months, as I call, on the big tracks?
If his mother's not looking at me, and she's not, we bought him a new Perfect Circle CRA car.
Okay. Well, there you go. You heard it right here first. Mr. Jay Newitt going to be running the CRA cars. Don't tell his mom, though. Thank you. Thank you, sir. I appreciate it, and thank you for bringing out this and making this part of the West Michigan Race Car Show, sponsored by CarStar, benefiting the March of Dimes.
Thank you.
Back at the West Michigan Race Car Show, joined by Trevor Hollis. And Trevor, so far so good. Had a charity car, pretty cool car. You just checked out a minute ago, the Tom Nywick car. That's pretty cool.
Got to see the Noble car. First time I've ever really had experience with those. I've heard about them. I've never seen one in person. And talking to Tom about it, he picked it up at an auction. He's got a second one. That one is for sale. So
there you go.
Tom Newick looking to sell that one there.
$70,000 I don't have. You may not either.
No, I don't. Not on a racetrack announcer's salary.
No, me either. Let me ask you something, Trevor. What were you doing at 8 years old?
You know, I think I was in about, nothing. I was going to the races, falling asleep in the announcer's booth, listening to my Uncle Mark.
Right. I can't even remember what was that, second grade?
Yeah.
I lost track. Anyway, 8 years old. If you look at the two cars directly behind us, these two, what we call, I guess, sprint cars, for lack of better terms. 8 years old, piloted by David Udding. Take a look at the trophies to my left here. Look at the stack of trophies this young man has. 8 years old, already racked all this up. Two beautiful race cars.
Quarter midgets here they're one of my favorite types of racing. We got to see them a couple of times at the arena racing, and I think they plan on coming back a couple more times this year. But yeah, I mean, this is the entry level racing that you can get in the state of Michigan. They run these in Jackson, they run these in Lansing. They've been doing some of the indoor stuff in the arena racing. Really, really big in Indiana. Indiana and Ohio. Columbus, Ohio actually has one of the biggest quarter midget shows in the entire country, and they get upwards of 300 to 350 quarter midgets from Florida, California, all out west. They come all the way to Ohio to race these things, and very familiar cars. If you don't know the number 16 HS die car, then you've been living under a rock in the Michigan racing world, or you need to get out a little bit more.
The very famous Steele family name here in West Michigan. You see a couple of fans here at the West Michigan Race Car Show checking that out. Let me go back here. You can get a sense exactly how small these cars are. I've got a notebook here in my hand. I'm going to hold it up to the tire. It covers the entire tire, almost maybe a half of a notebook. That's how small these tires are. I'm standing next to this car. I'm probably a foot and a half on this car, and it's already 3 feet off the ground.
You know, and the amazing thing about these cars is the speed that these cars can turn on the tracks. The 1/10 of a mile track that we have at indoor racing, these guys are turning the 8-second laps that we see in the arena cars. And at the outdoor track in Lansing, they're right behind rookies. Used to be Richards, now it's rookies. They're turning 6, 7, 8-second laps over there as well. And you watch these guys race, and they will literally, their helmets will be about right here. They'll be leaning out of the car to get these cars to corner, and it's really an incredible sight. And this is where everybody starts. This is where your Tony Stewart's got their start. This is where Jeff Gordon got his start. This is where Ryan Newman, Clint Boyer, all of those guys have had time in these quarter midgets, and they've moved on to, obviously with those names, they've moved on to the top of their sport.
As big as it gets.
Yes, they've moved on to NASCAR. They've moved on to Indy Racing League. Tony Stewart, a former Indy Racing League champion. This is what he started out with. So, and the nice thing about these cars also is they're affordable. If you're looking to get your person into one of these cars, you can definitely put your family in these cars. Very affordable way of racing. Don't let the size of the car fool you. They are very technical cars, but still very, very fun to watch, man. If you get a chance to watch them, I definitely recommend checking them out.
I was going to say, not just small, but also fast.
Oh, yes.
Absolutely. Now, you talked about the familiar HS Die name. As we took to my right here, we see the name Kelsey Steele on the side of this HS Die machine. Now, anybody who's at all familiar with West Michigan racing,